from a decentralized location. This is the crypto effect.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Crypto Effect. It is March 23rd at around 7:30 p.m. Central. I'm here with my good friend Warren, aka Warble. I'm your host Brad, and today we've got a few topics to discuss. As most of us know, it's been a pretty rough weekend in crypto. If you've been paying attention, which if you are in crypto, you probably are paying attention, but it has been, a little bit of a pullback. We are seeing Bitcoin dip down into the low 50s, Ethereum into the mid 1600s, with those being our top two. And then with everything else with that, we're been seeing a lot of altcoin pullback, which has been a little depressing, but not too much. Obviously, it's probably a pretty good time to get in. So I have been doing a little bit of purchasing. Warble's also been doing a little bit of purchasing. So right now, when everyone's feeling depressed, it's actually a really good time to get in. So we've been buying a little bit of here. So we're going to talk about a little bit of that today as well. We're going to talk about a few projects going on that I know Warble is really excited about. Tango and their new keyWizard program. We're going to be talking about Polkastarter and a Bitcoin rewards program, which is pretty interesting. Warble, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep. Just following DeFi. I mean, it seems like there's been so much going on. It's hard to keep track of it all.
Right.
And it's continuously changing, obviously, but there's always something new being announced. And I think there's been some really cool things that have happened with projects both you and I have followed, including Orion, which is one of the things we'll talk about. And some interesting things about old projects. And one of the ones I wanted to talk about later in the show that has recently announced the rebranding. So there's always something new, and DeFi is constantly moving, and it's moving at 100 miles an hour, it seems like. So
yeah, well, definitely. Like you said, there's always something going on. It's so impossible to keep up with. It's just moving so fast, and it's been a tough week this week. Watching a lot of stuff pull back. You definitely don't want to be fully invested in any one project, that's for sure. But I am trying to use this as the opportunity to get into some new projects coming up. I'm pretty excited about talking about actually that Warble just mentioned to me today. So we'll get into that. But to start off, let's just go and jump in. We're going to talk about Tango. Actually, I'm going to Warble, this is yours for sure. I have no idea what Tango is.
Yeah, so this one caught my attention because last show we talked a little bit about the whole thing about influencers and John McAfee specifically we were talking about. And so influencers can be good, influencers can be bad. But what I found interesting about Tango is they're trying to push this concept of let's get some influencers that can help drive adoption. And let's reward those influencers in some way or another. And so what they've announced is this program called the keyWizard program. And it's starting with enlisting the help of what they're calling influencers. And we've talked about them a few times. But again, the concept is driving adoption specifically on DeFi concepts. So things like yield farming, staking, impermanent loss, these are things that I can almost guarantee that crypto newbies probably have no idea what any of those things are. And without the high quality content and without things for people to look at and sources to trust, specifically in DeFi, I think it's hard for people to get involved in it and have any confidence in what they should invest in. So I think it's a really cool program that Tango is putting in place. And the interesting thing is that I think you're going to see other projects do something similar to this. So Tango is its own project, but I wouldn't be surprised to see other protocols, like some of the ones we've talked about, Orion Protocol, what if they start to adopt this concept of let's put in some capital and get people to be what we would consider top influencers on our project. And so I think it's kind of a neat little trend that Tango is starting. And and again, they push the, you know, the concept of high quality content, you know, and it's specifically focusing on DeFi space. Because there's a lot of garbage out there, and there's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of FUD. But when you have something where you've got people that are, you know, responsible to produce this content for new users, I think that says a lot about a project. It's pretty neat what they're doing. So
yeah, so it looks like they're basically going to be using influencers to both help educate and promote different projects.
right. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we have enrolled a star-studded list of top influencers within the crypto industry space that we believe are well aligned with our project. Um, Interesting. So this would definitely be something like if you're one, you know, I guess you kind of brought it up with John McAfee. When do you learn who you can trust? Like,
Right. And I think that's what's important about something like this. And also, to be clear, I'm not in any way covering Tango. So there's a separation here. Tango is its own thing.
all right,
I think the thing I wanted to talk about here, and I just want to make sure that I point out about what Tango's doing, is their keyWizard program.
all right.
So Tango, I recommend checking it out, but I haven't looked at it enough to know enough about it to talk about it on our podcast. But I just wanted to, what caught my attention with them is their keyWizard program and the concept
Yeah.
of using this influencer for, you know, to actually gain traction. So I think that's admirable. And if you take some of the past influencers that like we've talked about, you know, that's the total opposite. They're not trying to educate people; they're just trying to sell them stuff.
Right.
And that's the big difference here.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I mean, that makes sense. But it looks like it says coming out in the next summer, coming days. So not sure when it's going to come out, but definitely we'll be keeping our eye on that. Interesting. That's good stuff. All right. Well, moving on to the next topic, we're going to be talking about Polkastarter.
Yeah.
Now
So
being a Binance Smart Chain pool.
Yeah, Polkastarter has been something that's been on my radar for, gosh, I want to say at least a month. I've talked about it, and you know, it's been something I've considered investing in, but for the longest time, Polkastarter was it was on the Ethereum mainnet, and usually you would get it from Uniswap or you know, some other Ethereum venue, and there's a few now. So, but I didn't want to. I'm trying to, you know, to preserve my funds from all these fees that you pay on the Ethereum blockchain. So I've not been able to go back and pick up any Polkastarter. However, one thing that caught my attention with these guys is that they recently announced that they are making a move to the Binance Smart Chain. And I think when they do this, it's going to open up a large group of investors, because, you know, you're no longer being, you know, handicapped by so many fees over on the Ethereum mainnet. And so when they move over there, I think it's gonna open up the ability for people to invest in really early stage, you know, companies and coins, because that's really what Polkastarter is about. In fact, one of the things they kind of say about their own platform is that they are a protocol for launching, you know, new projects and new ideas. So I think if people have the opportunity to invest in those coins before they actually hit coin market cap, and they hit, you know, CoinGecko and things like that, there's a potential to make a lot of money on those purchases. And Polkastarter really opens the door for that.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that they really kind of pride themselves on with their platform is what are called IDOs. And for those that aren't familiar with IDOs, those are initial DEX offerings, decentralized exchange offerings. So back in the 17, we had ICOs, which were the initial coin offerings. And so now we're talking IDOs mostly. And these give people the ability to invest in a lot of the decentralized exchange offerings now compared to what you would invest in back in the 17. Right. But they aren't completely leaving the Ethereum mainnet. They're actually going to be there still. It's just that now they're actually going to allow people to use the Binance Smart Chain in addition to the Ethereum mainnet.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, anyone who does any kind of significant amount of trading in crypto knows that the majority of tokens that you hear about are on the Ethereum blockchain. There's currently two big blockchains, right? You got Ethereum and Binance. And Ethereum, and Warble, you're going to know way more than this than I am, but because of the what is it, the amount of hashing, I guess, that's currently on that particular blockchain, whenever you swap tokens around, the gas fees, which is the cost of the swap, is enormous. But on the Binance Smart Chain, it's like so much cheaper. It's 1% of the cost of the Ethereum swaps. So I mean, this is that's more than half the all the reason I really am only currently trading on the Binance Smart Chain. So yeah, I think this is a huge win for them. Anyone who gets on the Binance Smart Chain at this point in time.
Yeah, Polkastarter, they have not officially announced their date and time when they're going to be launching on the Binance Smart Chain, but and they are saying, be very careful with any specific tokens that are currently listed on the Binance Smart Chain as symbol POLS, which is the polls symbol. It's the Polkastarter. And they are saying, be careful with, signing and getting into the right contract with that. And I would recommend following their Twitter account, which is twitter.com/Polkastarter. For announcements in terms of when they're actually going to launch.
Yeah, Pokestarter. Yeah, and they're part of the Polkadot. Are they part of the Polkadot team, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been looking at them for a while, but again, because of the Ethereum blockchain, $100 trade is $100 in gas fees, so it just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, definitely pretty excited about anything coming over to Binance. That's for sure. Pretty excited about that project as well. All right, is there anything else you want to talk about on the Polkastarter?
No, but I think we'll move on to the next project that caught my attention, which is the Tao Protocol. I found this one interesting, even though this isn't a new concept. Unbeknownst to me, there were others that have tokenized hash rate, but this one caught my attention specifically because they're actually rewarding token holders that actually stake. They're rewarding them in Bitcoin, which that's why I was interested in it mostly. But I also thought it was kind of a neat concept that if I stake the BTCST token, I'm actually buying a comparable amount of hash rate in a mining farm. In addition to that, I did find that, some of the companies that are backing this project, such as Genesis Mining, Binance Pool, Atlas Mining, and there are others as well, but those are three of the big names that are backing this project. And for me, the fact that Genesis Mining is backing it is, personally, it says a lot. I've used Genesis in the past. I don't cloud mine anymore. I don't find that it's that profitable. But I found interesting that Genesis was one of the companies backing it. The other interesting thing, if you think about it this way, and I do still think this, that I think mining Bitcoin is a lot cheaper than buying it. Because when you're buying it, you're actually buying it at market price. I mean, you may get lucky and buy the dip, or you may buy some lower priced Bitcoin sell orders. But typically when you mine it, you're getting a Bitcoin at a much cheaper price. But what's cool about this is that this is an alternative, right? So instead of me going out and buying it at the market price, I can actually buy this coin, I can stake it, and it's considered my share of that mining pool. So I'm technically mining it, which I find pretty interesting, actually. It's a different way to tap into DeFi and start earning Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's kind of a passive earning.
I mean, that's an interesting concept. I mean, when you think about it, and I wondered this myself. So there are a lot of these token projects, both on Ethereum and Binance, have these staking rewards where kind of like maybe a bond or something, where you put your own tokens onto the blockchain and allow those distributions or people to basically borrow from that pool, and you get paid the gas fee for letting them borrow it. So you're not really losing anything. You're gaining interest on your liquidity every day or every year, how often you want to stake it. Why does Bitcoin not also do that? I noticed Bitcoin is probably the only cryptos that didn't really have a staking pool.
Right. Bitcoin's had a really rough time with the D5 movement, because they're not involved. I mean, let's face it. Unfortunately, I love Bitcoin. I think it is the premier coin. It is, you have to hold Bitcoin. I mean, you have to. If you're investing in cryptocurrency, you have to hold some Bitcoin. The problem with Bitcoin is that unless your strategy is to simply buy it and hold it and never gain a yield, never tap into what's happening almost on a daily basis with DeFi. If you're that patient and you're able to just hold it, that's great. I'm happy for you, but a lot of people are not capitalizing on what they're holding with Bitcoin.
Right.
You get these increases in the price, but unless you're actively trading it and cashing in on those increases, you're not really making any yield on that. If you're looking at it as, hey, I'm going to hold this for 10 years, I'm going to hold this for 20 years, and then I'm going to cash out, so I can move to the Bahamas, great. But a lot of people like you and I'm speaking for myself, I guess, mostly here, but I want to make yield I want to make something on what I'm holding. I feel like there should be some sort of percentage or increase on the holdings that I have. And you simply can't get that with Bitcoin right now. So that is the problem. I think that, in my opinion, I think that's the biggest issue with Bitcoin. It's just not able to tap into the DeFi market. Like things like Ethereum and a lot of the many other coins that we've talked about. But I do have the Tao Protocol website up here, and I'll share my screen just to show.
Yeah, you share it.
Show you what this looks like. So what we're looking at here is this is the Tao Protocol website. And as you can see, as expected, as most of these do, there's a link out to their app. And this does also use MetaMask. So if I click on this, what you can see here is this is the all-time amount that has been mined from across the entire holdings of the contract. So this is the amount of staked BTCST.
Wow.
Which is a considerable amount. And interestingly, and this is the part that I find probably the most interesting part about this platform, is the fact that one BTCST is worth 100 gigahash. And so as you accumulate this, you continue to accumulate more hashing power. So it's equivalent to if you have 100 and hopefully I get this number right. If you have 100 BT CST, I almost keep thinking I'm going to mess up this this acronym here. But if you hold 100 of those, you have the equivalent of an S9 miner, which is pretty cool. So, you know, I don't want to run an ASIC miner in my house. I have in the past. I've run an S5. I ran an S1 way back in the day. It was barely any noise. But then I ran an S5 and super loud, a lot of heat. And honestly, it's just, in my opinion, one, it's not profitable anymore. Two, I just don't want to run it in my house. So, you know, the option here that I have is let me get enough of the BTCST tokens, and I'll keep building my hashing power, and I have an S9 virtually.
Okay, so
which is cool.
So how does this work? I have Bitcoin, so I take my Bitcoin and I swap it out for the BTCST.
Yeah, well, you can. You would actually have to convert your Bitcoin, and this is the problem with Bitcoin. You would have to convert your Bitcoin over to the Ethereum network, or actually you would have to get it over to the Binance Smart Chain. And in order to do that, you'd have to wrap it. So it has to be a wrapped, it has to be a, I'm trying to think of the actual ticker on that. I know on the Ethereum blockchain, it's wrapped Bitcoin. So it's WBTC.
Right.
And I don't know, I can't think off the top of my head what the ticker is for wrapped Bitcoin on the Binance Smart Chain.
But I thought it was, yeah, it's just WBT. No, that's, yeah.
But the bottom line here is yes, you could, if you get your Bitcoin, you would have to wrap your Bitcoin, convert it, send it over to the Binance Smart Chain. Once it's over at the Binance Smart Chain, yes, you could technically purchase the BTCST tokens, at which point you would stake them. But you can see here my balance, which I don't have a lot. I don't have a big hash rate, but I was trying this out more than anything else. I just wanted to see how it worked. But, you know, I have 256 Satoshi. That's not very much. But the fact is, I am mining without having actual hardware. And it's technically, it's kind of like cloud mining, except that this is not a contract that expires in, you know, 1 year, 2 years. This is part of a smart contract, and the smart contract is perpetual. And so I think it's different than cloud mining.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting concept because, I mean, technically you're right. Unless you're trading Bitcoin and you're just hitting consistent lows, and then, you know, it jumps up, and you're spending quite a bit of money for one. You're not really earning an interest of any kind. This is a pretty, because I've always thought about you know, mining myself, but it just, when you really get into it, it's just not worth it. You know, just the server cost, and then the putting it together, and the maintenance, and then the heat, like you're talking about.
Right.
This is a great alternative. As a matter of fact, I'm seriously thinking about switching over to this.
Right. So you could see here, I put this up so people could see it. So my mining power equivalent is 0.06 terahash. So that is really 600 gigahash. But interestingly, you know, thinking back to the days when I had the S1, and I know people are going to say, "Oh my God, I haven't heard the S1. I haven't heard anybody talk about the S1 in, like, gosh, I don't know, 6 years." But the S1 was capable of hashing, I think it was 130 gigahash. So I've got, the funny thing is I've got the equivalent of, you know, probably 4 S1s already from just purchasing 6.43 BTCST.
Wow.
And again, I'm not doing anything. I'm simply leaving it. So
yeah.
So I think it's a cool option for people that are interested in getting into some sort of Bitcoin mining. And it opens up, it gives people the ability to get involved in it without having to invest a lot of money.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a cool idea. I know you told me about it the other day, and I really haven't looked into it. But that it's an interesting concept. I'm going to have to dig into that a little bit more. It may be a future interest for sure of mine.
And just some stats on the BTCST token is that the market cap right now is sitting at about roughly 229 million. So it is quite a high market cap. The circulating supply is 5,893,000, and the total supply is 15 million. So, we're about a third of the way to the total supply. But what I find interesting about this isn't I don't look at this as a token that I'm going to trade. I look at this as a truly utility token. So I'm not buying this in hopes that I can turn around and sell it. I'm actually buying this to continue to accumulate it so I can have more hashing power.
Yeah, and this is a new project, isn't it?
It's brand new. Yeah, I want to say maybe like 5 days old.
Yeah, I see it right here. March looks like 18th. Interesting.
So yeah, check it out. If you want to get into Bitcoin mining, not sure where to begin, do a little bit of research on BTCST. I think it's a great way to get involved. Please stay away from cloud mining contracts. They're very expensive. I've invested in them, so I'm speaking from experience that anytime I've invested in cloud mining contracts, I've always lost. So yeah, you never win on those. And I think I have not seen anybody say that they've ever won on those. So just, if you really do want to get into mining and you want to look at a virtual mining operation or option, take a look at this. I think this will be a better option for you.
All right, BTCST, Bitcoin Standard Hash Rate Token. That's what it's called on CoinMarketCap. All right, moving over to a really cool project, the Orion NFT Aggregator. Let's get into this.
So yeah, we talked about NFTs last week quite extensively, and I think we even talked about them before that as well in the show prior. NFTs obviously goes without saying, and check out one of the prior shows when we talked about them. NFTs are big. Orion Protocol is even bigger, in my opinion. I think, and we both agree on this. I think this project is going to be absolutely large investment opportunity for people. But I think the exciting part about these guys is the fact that they're constantly innovating. They're constantly adding partnerships. They're constantly thinking about ways to create return on investment for holders of the Orion token. And this news this is something that they announced a couple days ago, which caught my attention again. And I said, wow, these guys continue to impress, is the fact that, they are actually they're going to be launching an NFT aggregator. So with this, we have talked about these guys before, but the concept of the aggregator, as we've talked about before with like 1inch, for example, that's a great example of another aggregator. The NFT aggregator is going to essentially pull all of the NFTs from multiple platforms into one dashboard. So you think about Rarible, for example. And there are many, actually. There seems like every day there's a new NFT platform. But think about all of the different NFT platforms. But the interesting thing with this is, just like 1inch pulls in liquidity from Uniswap and all the different DeFi platforms out there, Orion's going to pull in all the NFTs from these platforms and present them in a dashboard where you can then buy them or sell them for competitive prices.
Yeah, I mean that is a really cool concept, and I've been wondering when we were going to see this because it is hard to keep up with where there's so many NFTs to begin with, but then you have all these different marketplaces, and you're like, for God's sake, which one is going to have kind of what I'm looking for or has the best projects, and like even when Beeble was selling his NFT artwork, I didn't even recognize the marketplace that he was on, and or wait, was he? He wasn't on OpenSea, was he? So you got like OpenSea and Rarible, the two main ones that I know about.
Yeah, and there's others. The Winklevoss twins, I believe, also have. I believe they also are backers of an NFT platform as well. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Oh yeah.
There's so many. There's a bunch of different NFT marketplaces, but they're fragmented though. At the end of the day, they're fragmented. So the problem is as an artist, think about that for a second. I look at this as not really a place to just buy them, but think about it in terms of if you're an artist and you have 20 NFTs that you've worked the last 2 or 3 years on, and you're like, okay, I really want to get these out there, but I don't know which marketplace is the best marketplace. Where should I sell these? This is going to benefit those artists because they're not really relying on the competing volume and visibility from one platform alone.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually gaining that volume and visibility from every platform in one location.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you do kind of think of it as an artist, because as an artist, you got to go, well, okay, so I have my NFT. Which platform do I put it on? Which one's
Right.
going to get the more eyes on it? Which one has the best chance? But then not only that, but then when you put your NFT on the platform, there's gas cost, right? Right.
Oh yeah, you
So
definitely have to pay
even if you
gas.
went to each platform and you're like, I'm going to go to Rarible, I'm going to go to OpenSea, I'm going to go to this, whichever one it is, doesn't really matter. But for me to put my NFT up on that platform, it's going to cost the gas fee. And just like we were talking about earlier, Ethereum gas fees are outrageous. So just for me to put it up is probably like 50, $100.
That's a really good point, actually, because I could be an artist, like you were saying. I could be an artist, and I could be like, okay, I know this thing's going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, yeah, I just as you just said, I have to spend $30-$40 on Rarible, $30-$40 on OpenSea, $30-$40 on platform XYZ, and
Yeah. And so by the time you're done, you've already spent $200 or $300 putting it up. So this is going to be, I mean, this is going to set NFT market up for sellers.
it absolutely will. It's going to provide the sellers the best prices and the best volume,
Mm-hmm.
best visibility that they can get. So yeah, this is a game changer. But what else is cool about this is Orion Protocol flipped the script a little bit on this, and they said, you know what? Not only is this benefiting the buyers and the sellers,
Yeah.
but for every holder, the more that happens on the platform. Let's say you have artists that are selling. Let's say within a given week you have 500 artists that sell, each sell 50 pieces of artwork. Every single holder of the Orion protocol or the Orion token gets interest on that. So you're earning staking interest on every one of those
Wow.
sales.
Wow.
So, and that's just one part of their platform. So think about that. That's just NFTs. That's not just trading.
Mm-hmm.
But every trade's the same thing. If somebody buys token Y, they buy tons of shares of it, and this trader buys tons of shares of it and sells tons of shares. Every single one of those transactions is staking income for people holding Orion Protocol token.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember we first started talking about Orion, I think back in early February. It was in the $6 range. I remember when I first discovered it. So, you may have known about it longer, of course. But I mean, we're already up 3, 6, 12, 18, 24, 4x from just a couple months ago.
Another partnership that Orion announced, I think it was a few days ago,
Mm-hmm.
is another liquidity on ramp for them is going to be Cody.
Right.
And so every bit of the Cody volume, anything that comes through Cody is also going to benefit Orion tokens, Orion holders. So this platform is this is one of the most amazing platforms right now. It is going to be, I think this is going to be the biggest platform. This is going to simply blow people's minds when they get fully loaded. I mean, and it's going to be launching by the end of this month.
Yeah.
So I am super excited about this. There's going to be a lot of stuff. I want to check this out. You know, I think maybe we should do a show dedicated just to using it and taking people through it.
Yeah, I mean, every single time I keep putting Orion off. I'm like, no, you know, I could have caught it at 6, and I'm mad that I didn't. And you know, now I do own a little bit. I don't own very much, but I'm just so upset that I didn't get in on this when I knew it was going to be this thing. Like you said, I think this is going to be huge. Look at their partners: Chainlink, Cody.
This is going to be the
Cody.
biggest.
I love Cody.
Yeah.
Nord Finance, Look at these partners.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that DAO, you know, DAO maker pools, infrastructure part. Look at, I mean, it's going to be huge. And they're currently only at $24, I think is what I just saw.
Yeah. And what is their market cap sitting at? I didn't pull
I'll go
that
back to it. So we're looking at a 514 million current market cap.
And we're easily from that specific number, in my opinion at least, we're easily 6 to 7 times more by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't
it
doubt
launches it launches at the end of March. As soon as this launches, people are going to, that price is going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend, I can't recommend it enough. I get into Orion protocol now before when it does launch, it's going to continue to go up, and it's going to go up fast.
Yeah, we don't talk about a lot of cryptos that you know you really should own besides Bitcoin, but Orion's definitely one of those ones where I'm pretty comfortable in saying just like Cardano's another, but Orion's one of those ones I don't mind saying get some.
Right. Yeah, you should hold at least some Orion. And then one other game changer here, and this is just like, I think this one gave me I had a grin on my face when I read this, because I'm like, wow, you know, this is just amazing, is that they are also, in addition to providing an aggregator for NFTs, they've also announced that they're going to be launching their own set of NFTs, which are going to unlock benefits on their platform. What those benefits are going to be remains to be seen. Obviously, you know, maybe there'll be trading discounts, maybe there'll be airdrops, who knows? But these guys continue to announce things, and it is one of the most impressive projects I've seen in the last 7 years.
Right. And another look at this. They're one of their liquidity aggregators with Reef. I didn't know that. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, definitely a cool project. I'll probably be picking up some more of this today, with it being down. So, you know, I love this project for sure.
Yeah, one of my favorite projects.
All right. Well, moving on to, I think, what is our last topic, which is Eon's Alco's DeFi pivot.
Right. So for those people that have been in the space long enough, you may still be in them. But masternodes at one point in time were kind of the cool kid thing. You know, it was kind of like, that was kind of before DeFi really took off. You know, it was kind of like, what's a good way to earn passive income? And you know, back in the day, you could also stake coins as well. But, you know, I remember at one point in time, I think I had over 55 masternodes at one point in time across different projects. I got to the point where I hoarded masternodes. I would go check out masternodes online, and I would buy like all of these shit coins and continue to buy them and just get the masternodes. Since then, I've kept I have 2 right now. One of which is 4, which we've talked about. And the other that I have is Alco. And I've had Alco Masternode now for 3 years, I think.
Wow.
So I've had it for a while. And I thought, okay, this will probably always be a Masternode coin. And I was happy with it. I mean, it would maintain its price for the most part. It was down for a while. But then I saw this news this week and I'm like, wait a second, why is Eon showing up why is that in my feed, right? I'm like, who the hell's Eons? And what I realized is that Alco had rebranded. They started rebranding themselves to Eons. And so I said, wow, wait, what is this? So my understanding from this is that Alco is going to move toward DeFi, like everybody's been doing. But the interesting thing with these guys is they had funding. They had over $1 million funding about a year and a half ago. They're comprised of a pretty good team. They have a very talented team, actually. And they had a platform, and I believe they still do, called Bitfinion. And the intention with Bitfinion was that it was going to be a sort of a decentralized exchange, which it was, and it's operating, I believe, to this day. It's still operating. But what they're doing is they're moving everything to the decentralized finance platforms and the Binance Smart Chain. This is super exciting because I think, one, they have the team to back the project. 2, these guys have been around, the crypto space for at least 3 years, if not more. I think 3.5 to 4 years. And they move fast. When they do make moves, they move fast. And right now, I think their token price, we were looking at this earlier, Brad, I believe the price of their token has steadily increased over I believe we zoomed in on that. It had steadily increased over the past 3 months, I believe we were even on. And so I think this one's going to be one to keep an eye on. They're moving from a masternode concept to a yield producing concept in DeFi. And what I think is interesting too is that I wonder how many other masternode projects that are out there are going to see this, and we may start to see them move in this direction as well. So, if you go out there and you go to Masternodes online and you take a look at some of those projects, you may want to start to pick up some of them. They're very, very cheap. And if they make the move into DeFi, there's a potential there to make, a quick 5 to 10 time your initial investment.
Yeah. Okay. So for people who don't really know or understand the concept of why like a token like this would move from a masternode into a DeFi, could you break that down for them? I mean, you've been running masternodes for a while now. I mean, like you were talking about, where the 4 token here. Here's the 4 wallet. You used to own this one as a masternode.
Yep, I still own that I actually still have that as a masternode.
Yeah, and they actually removed the masternode button here. So I don't know. Oh, you said you're still running this as a masternode?
Yes.
But it doesn't matter. But yeah, can you break down the difference between DeFi and masternode?
Yeah, so the way masternodes work is if you think about it all goes back to the blockchain, right? So in the blockchain, the transactions are they have to be validated by something, right? So the masternode operator is the validator. So my reward for validating transactions on that blockchain as a node operator is a predetermined amount of tokens, right? So Alco, being a masternode coin, as me running a node, as every validation I make on that blockchain, I'm awarded a certain amount of Alco tokens. Right. When they make the move from a masternode to something like the Binance Smart Chain, They're actually moving from the nodes being the validators to the predetermined validators on the Binance Smart Chain. So we know that the Binance Smart Chain is proof of authority. So there is no masternode. It's a proof of authority. So they're no longer relying on their own custom-made blockchain. They're relying on Binance Smart Chain.
Yep.
And that's the difference. Yeah.
This is like, this reminds me of when backups and storage moved from the server to the cloud, right? Yep. And so you're seeing this new concept in DeFi of people running master nodes and the authentication happening on your computerized node on your home workstation over to this almost cloud concept. And so now that these tokens that haven't really made moves in a long time. I mean, if we went back to the all-time on this, you could see back in 2018 when Masternode was still a pretty big concept. It's $2?
Oh yeah, it got up to I think it was around $2.
$2. So you can see it's come back down, but they have not gone away. So for those people who are looking for those early in type projects that no one's talking about, but they have big potential. Like this is it. I really feel like they're probably not going anywhere. I'm not familiar enough with Alco to make a positive indication on it, but I don't know what their big push for is. But like you said, I think this is one to watch, and I'll probably will put some money up on it. To be honest.
The interesting thing too with this is if you think about it is in the current state, before they make the move to Binance Smart Chain, in order to use their platform, you have to download their wallet. You have to visit Bitfineon. You have to do a variety of things. I don't think I want to say jump through hoops, but it isn't as convenient. Like I can't use MetaMask to interact with them. I can't do everything from one central location to interact with them. And so think about that in terms of in terms of the visibility, in terms of who's using their platform. That number is significantly lower than what it would be if they made the move to Binance Smart Chain. So if you think about that migration, once they make that move and they have a solid plan in place with existing technology, their chance of gaining a lot more users goes way up because they're using a blockchain that a lot of people are using, and their platform has a chance to grow. So I think these guys are going to come back. I'm excited about these guys. I think you have a chance for an easy 10 times here, easy 20 times on the price.
Yeah, I mean at that price. And especially with the movement you've seen just in the last, I think, month is what I was showing. You've seen a 2x.
Yep.
Yeah, you've seen a 2x in the last month.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that go, by the end of the year, be a 10x.
Yeah.
From its current price.
They have a total supply of 65 million. That's not really that much. A reported circulating supply of 68 million. That's interesting.
They have a really good Discord community as well. Pretty active on Discord.
One of the only thing that concerns me, and we kind of dealt with this with the 4 project, is the exchanges where you can actually get this. That always makes it sometimes kind of hard. I'm not a huge fan of GraviX, and Bitfineon I've never used.
That's theirs.
Oh, that's theirs. Interesting.
Yep, that Bitfineon is their own exchange.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, there's your call out for an early project. Like you said, Warble, these guys could probably turn a 10x within a year.
Yep. I don't think they're getting the attention that they deserve. I think these guys have developed a lot of stuff. Their team has built, their team has built stuff. But I think the issue they've had is the fact that they're stuck on their own blockchain. They're stuck on their own proprietary infrastructure. without that adoption that you see on Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum, Polkadot, you know, a lot of these bigger chains, they're not there. They're on their own. And the intention of theirs, you know, I spent a little bit of time in their Twitch room a little bit and wanted to get a little bit of information on what was going on and why they wanted to make the change. And one of the biggest reasons is they want to tap into a much larger user base to bring attention to their products. And I think it's a smart move. I think these guys have a potential to really make a change and go the other way for sure.
Did you do you know when the change is going to take effect?
There hasn't been an official date in terms of when they're going to make the move over to Binance Smart Chain. But if you are holding, so you don't have to wait till they make the move. In fact, I would recommend you don't wait until they make the move, because I think once they make the move, the price of the coin is going to go up. But you know, so when you are holding, if you hold their tokens in their wallet, which you can download from their website, if you hold their tokens, it's a one-to-one exchange. So you don't have to worry that you're getting something that's you're not going to get their new token when they launch.
Okay.
It is going to be a one-to-one exchange when they do launch. So I recommend, if you're going to make the move on these guys, I would probably make the move before they end up moving to Binance Smart Chain.
Very good. Good information.
So
yeah,
that's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, early call out on a project, guys. Alco, moving to eons. So in 6 months, when you know it's $7, $8, $10, you'll know we called it here first.
Yep, and another thing I wanted to draw your attention to, there's a site that I tend to look at quite a bit, actually, not as much as I used to, but it's called Masternodes Online. And I'll pull up the site here to show you guys. I used to use this quite extensively, and it's a good way to find what I would consider to be these same sorts of projects that we're going to see possibly in the future that are going to make that same move. So some of these tokens you guys have seen, I'm sure. Dash, it's a heavily focused on privacy, but it's been a masternode coin for a long time. I believe it used to be Dark Coin. They made the switch over to Dash. And then of course you have others like Divi, which is doing really well. I don't see Divi making that move anytime soon. But Divi is very, it's a very high priced masternode. But I would not be surprised to see things like PIVX make that move eventually. Although a lot of these masternode coins are based off of PIVX. There are a lot of them are forks from the PIVX code base. And you have things like Wager, which is a competitor for Aced, which I don't know if we've talked about Aced, but Wager is another competitor to Aced, which, by the way, I'd like to talk about Aced at some point on our show. But you can clearly see there's four. Brad and I have talked about four before, and there you can see they're a masternode. But just looking at the number of coins here, there's Alco. You know, just looking at the number of coins here, you can see that at any given time, any one of these coins could decide to make the move to DeFi and adopt Binance Smart Chain. And so, you know, looking at the price of these, and you can filter by the price, but check this out. I mean, you could buy 1 million of these things at hardly any cost. Right. And as soon as they make the move to Binance Smart Chain, you've probably got an easy 100x on your purchase.
Let me just make a recommendation. Before you do that, make sure you sort by volume, because you definitely want a lot of volume in that token. Otherwise, you're the only one buying and selling.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. Good call out on that one for sure.
But yeah.
And you can also sort by market cap as well.
Cap. Yeah. All right. Yeah, a lot of good advice in that. Be looking out for the next big runner. So it's you know, a lot of good tokens out there right now. It's hard to get your hands on all of them, but I am always looking for that next 20x. That's for sure.
Yeah, so definitely check out some of the old coins. And then the last item I have is, and I wanted to talk about this a little, just a very little bit. And I put this under our crypto gear, and been trying to cover something each week on this. But I'm going to share my screen just for a second. The Pancake Swap store. These guys are. This is by far probably, besides Orion Protocol, I really have to say Pancake Swap is, they're another group that just continues to add new things. And they're very soon are going to be launching their teams. So there's actually like 3 main teams on Pancake Swap. And they're going to be gamifying some of their platform. And they're going to say, you have to complete these tasks to earn specific rewards. And who knows what those will be. But I'd be happy to be, to receive one of these shirts. That's cool. But I wanted to point this out because there's some really cool swag here. And in fact, I'm probably going to pick up something from the Fearsome Flippers. That's the team I joined. But what I did want to say on this is that every one of these purchases goes toward a charity. So anything that is purchased through here, Pancake Swap is donating back to charity.
Wow.
So definitely take an opportunity to browse that. And that is pancakeswap .creator-spring.com.
All right. Yeah, I think we'll probably talk about PancakeSwap a little bit more next week, just because they've got so much going on with their platform, and it's just such a cool concept. Their crypto has really jumped in the last few months. And another cool that they do is they have the lottery. You can purchase a ticket in their lottery, which just yesterday. Yesterday, their lottery, one person won $380,000 in PancakeSwap. Just an astronomical amount of tokens that are given away in their lottery, and just one ticket is the cost of one token, which is around $11 at the time of this recording. But yeah, 31,656 pancake tokens, which equal it out to just over 380. Then you see like 12,000 people split 43 people split 12,660, and 921 people split 6,300. So I mean, that's just such a cool concept. I get pretty addicted to playing their little lotto pool. So but yeah, really cool stuff going on with PancakeSwap. I really love their crypto. I think they've got a long future ahead of them.
Yeah, so check out their store. There's some pretty cool stuff on here. And I think that's really all I have for the week, Brad.
All right. Yeah, I don't really have anything else. I think that was a pretty full episode. So I guess we'll go ahead and call it there. Hey guys, make sure you subscribe and leave the comments below. Let us know what you want to hear about next week, and we'll be sure to put it in the upcoming video. Thank you guys. We'll see you all next week.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks everyone.
Later.